30 years have passed since a love story changed the way we believed in fairy tales. The city lights still shine, but time has moved on. A man who once found his heart in the most unexpected place now carries years of success, loneliness, and memories that never left him. A woman who once dreamed of a new life has built her own path, strong and fearless, yet she still remembers the man who saw her for who she truly was. Now, destiny is about to call them back together, and the world will ask, can true love survive a lifetime apart? The screen fades in slowly. The sound of gentle piano keys rises, soft and familiar, echoing the emotions of a story we once knew. The camera sweeps across Beverly Hills at night, luxury stores glowing, limousines passing by, the same streets where Vivian once stood, dreaming of a better tomorrow. But the world has changed. The people are faster, the noise is louder, and the magic of the past feels like a distant echo. We move into a tall skyscraper, where Edward Lewis now sits alone in a modern boardroom. His figure is shown in shadow, only the outline of an older man in a tailored suit. He stares out over the city, his hands resting on the table, his thoughts heavy. A soft voiceover enters, Edward's inner words, "I had everything, but nothing ever felt complete." The camera drifts to his desk where an old photograph is hidden inside a drawer. Just for a second, the picture of a young Vivian glows under the city lights. He closes the drawer, almost as if he is hiding a secret from himself. The music changes, warmer, lighter. The screen shifts to Los Angeles, where Vivian walks with confidence along a busy street. We don't see her face, but her silhouette carries the same spirit. She wears simple but elegant clothes, nothing flashy, just graceful. People greet her kindly. A woman respected, a woman who has built her life. She smiles at a little girl on the sidewalk, bends down to fix the child's fallen hat, and keeps walking with a quiet strength. A voiceover follows, "I wanted more than a dream. I wanted to live my own story." The two worlds are shown side by side, Edward's cold, empty, high-rise life, and Vivian's warm, down-to-earth world. Yet both are painted with a sense of longing. They have walked separate roads, but destiny does not forget. The screen turns dark for a moment, and the piano fades into silence. Then a single line appears on the screen. Some love stories never fade. The music swells as the first sparks of hope and drama take over. The camera cuts quickly between Edward looking out of his office window and Vivian standing at a crosswalk, waiting for the light to change. Both are frozen in their own lives, yet both turn their heads slightly, as if they can feel something calling them. The section closes with the shot of the city skyline, night turning into dawn. The voiceover whispers, 30 years later, the fairy tale is not over. The screen fades in with the sound of rain falling on glass. The music shifts, still elegant but with a subtle tension underneath, strings pressing softly like a secret waiting to be revealed. The city glows in the distance, yet the tone feels different now. Something is missing, something broken. Edward sits alone in his penthouse apartment. The camera captures only his silhouette against the window. His hands press against the glass as he looks out into the storm. The voiceover enters, steady but filled with regret. "I built empires, I conquered boardrooms, but I lost the only thing that ever mattered." His reflection stares back at him, older, tired, a man who has everything yet nothing to hold close. Cut to Vivian, surrounded by friends at a small dinner gathering. Laughter fills the air, her life appears full, yet there's a heaviness in her silence when the laughter dies down. She excuses herself and walks outside, standing under the streetlight, her umbrella shielding her from the rain. She takes out a folded note from her bag, worn edges, a memory kept alive. The camera closes in. It's a letter long ago written by Edward. She breathes in deeply, her voiceover soft. Some promises live forever even when the people who made them disappear. The pace quickens, scenes flicker across the screen. Edward facing pressure from younger rivals in his company. Voices around him saying, "You're the past? Lewis, it's time to step aside." His eyes burn with pride, but his heart remains unsettled. Meanwhile, Vivian helps organize a charity event for women starting over. Her passion clear, her spirit stronger than ever. But when her friend mentions Edward's name as a potential donor for the gala, her smile falters. The past she thought she had closed suddenly knocks on her door again. The conflict sharpens. Edward looks at the old photograph once more. He whispers to himself, "I let her go once. Maybe that was my greatest mistake. At the same time, Vivian looks up at the night sky, whispering, "What if the past finds me again?" The screen cuts to black, only sound remains. A car door slamming, a phone ringing unanswered, footsteps echoing down a hallway. Then the voiceover cuts through, heavy and dramatic. But after decades apart, can old flames survive new battles? The music swells, stronger, faster. A flash of Vivian standing at the entrance of the charity gala. A glimpse of Edward adjusting his tie in a mirror. The storm outside continues, but inside something bigger is brewing. Their worlds are about to collide once again, not with the innocence of youth, but with the weight of time, scars, and choices. The section closes with a powerful image. Edward and Vivian, faceless silhouettes walking in opposite directions through a grand hall. Just as they pass by each other, both stop, both turn. Silence. The moment hangs, unresolved, as the screen cuts to darkness. The music fades in, soft strings trembling like a heartbeat. A golden glow lights up the screen as if the city itself is holding its breath. The camera pans across a grand charity gala, chandeliers sparkling, voices blending into a wave of chatter and laughter. Elegance fills the air, but beneath the beauty there's tension, a quiet expectation, as if the night knows something we don't. Vivian arrives first. We see her through the glass doors, a silhouette against the flash of cameras. She's no longer the wide-eyed dreamer of the past. She's graceful, assured, every step carrying the story of a woman who has lived, fought, and grown. The crowd turns toward her, admiring her presence, yet she feels alone in the middle of the lights. Her inner voice whispers, "Sometimes the hardest part of life is pretending the past doesn't still live inside you." Across town, Edward adjusts his cufflinks in silence. He hesitates before leaving his apartment, his reflection staring back at him like a question he's never answered. He takes a slow breath, steps into the night, and a black car pulls away from the curb. The city blurs past as he sits in the back seat, hands restless, memories chasing him. His inner voice follows, "Tonight, maybe I face what I've run from for too long." Inside the gala, time slows. Vivian turns her head just as Edward enters the hall. The camera doesn't show their faces, only the power of two silhouettes locking in recognition. The music swells into a delicate piano note that holds for several seconds, stretching the tension. The crowd fades into a blur of motion, while these two stand frozen in a moment 30 years in the making. The montage shifts quickly, fragments of memory breaking through. Vivian laughing in the hotel suite long ago, Edward climbing the fire escape with flowers in his hand. Their hands touching in a limousine, fingers brushing gently, back to the present. Vivian breathes in sharply, her hand brushing against her necklace as if to steady herself. Edward takes a single step forward, his voiceover deep, quiet, almost trembling. "It's always been you." But the reunion isn't simple. Vivian turns slightly, torn between the urge to rush forward and the fear of reopening a wound. She forces a polite smile as others approach to greet Edward. Their eyes keep meeting across the room like magnets pulling closer and closer. The music shifts, no longer soft, now pulsing with a slow rhythm like the start of a storm. The scene builds toward its peak. Edward finally begins to walk toward her, weaving through the crowd. Vivian's heartbeat is heard faintly in the background, echoing louder with each step he takes. Their distance closes, 10 feet, 5 feet, one step away. Just as he opens his mouth to speak, the screen cuts to black. A voiceover whispers in the silence, "Some fairy tales never die. They wait for their second chapter." The silence lingers after the reunion, but it does not last. The screen bursts alive with a rush of images, faster, sharper, louder. Strings collide with the pounding of drums as the story shifts from longing to confrontation, from soft memory to raw emotion. Edward and Vivian stand face to face at last, their silhouettes almost touching. The world around them fades into a blur, but their voices cut through. Vivian whispers, trembling yet firm, "You don't get to just walk back into my life." Edward's reply, softer but heavy, "I never stopped walking toward you." The tension is electric, the moment fragile, the weight of 30 years pressing on them both. The screen fractures into quick, flashing cuts, an emotional storm unraveling. Edward alone in his apartment, smashing a glass against the wall, regret written in his shadow. Vivian crying in her car, gripping the steering wheel, whispering, "Why now? Why him?" A rival businessman leaning in close to Edward, snarling, "You've lost your edge. Louis, this isn't your world anymore." Vivian refusing an offer from a wealthy suitor, her voice firm. "Money doesn't buy the kind of love I've known." The pace quickens, the sound of a heartbeat rising in the background, each beat harder, faster. Amidst the storm, brief flashes of hope appear. Edward and Vivian laughing together in a small cafe, walking through Central Park in autumn leaves, their hands almost joining before pulling away again. Every happy glimpse is followed by pain, every promise shadowed by fear. The music climbs higher, crashing into a breaking point. Vivian shouts in anguish, "We're not the same people anymore." The screen freezes on her silhouette, trembling, eyes hidden. Then Edward's voice cuts in, steady, breaking through the chaos. "No. We're the only people who ever saw each other for real." A final montage fires like lightning. Vivian walking away through pouring rain. Edward running after her, desperate, unafraid of the storm. Vivian turning in slow motion, her breath shaking as their eyes lock again. A final close shot, his hand reaching out, hers trembling as it hovers above his. The music slams into silence. A piano key holds. The words appear across the screen in white letters against black. Maybe this time, we get it right. The screen goes dark. A pause. Then the title erupts in gold, bold and unshakable. Pretty Woman 2, 2025. Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. The last whisper of Edward's voice echoes, "Welcome back." "Princess, fade out, the screen is black." For a long breath there is only silence. Then a single piano note rings out, soft, aching and hopeful. Slowly light spills in, sunrise over the city skyline, washing the glass towers in gold. The storm has passed. The chaos has quieted. What remains is the truth of two lives standing on the edge of a choice. Vivian walks alone through a quiet street at dawn. Her silhouette is calm but uncertain, her steps slow, thoughtful. The voiceover of her heart whispers, "We waited half a lifetime to stand in front of each other again." But love is not about the years we lost. It's about the courage to begin once more. Cut to Edward sitting on a park bench, his head lowered, his hands clasped. For the first time, his body seems fragile, as though the weight of his choices is heavier than all the wealth he has carried. A child passes by and drops a flower at his feet. He picks it up, staring at it quietly, a flicker of something soft breaking through the cracks of regret. His inner voice follows. "I don't need an empire. I only need her." The montage flows slower now, gentle, filled with warmth instead of chaos. Vivian arriving at the steps of the charity center she built, her hands brushing across the stone engraved with the words, "Hope begins here." Edward walking past an old boutique hotel, pausing as if hearing echoes of the past. A phone ringing, unanswered, then ringing again, the sound louder, more insistent. Then the cut. Vivian steps into a gala hall once more, but this time it is empty, chairs stacked, lights dimmed. She looks around as though expecting to see him. At that exact moment, Edward enters quietly from the other side. The silence between them stretches again, but it feels different now, less like a wound, more like a door waiting to be opened. Edward speaks first, his voice breaking but steady. "I don't want another 30 years without you." Vivian closes her eyes, her breath shaking. She turns, her steps echoing in the vast hall. For a moment it feels as if she will walk away, but then she stops. She turns back. The music swells, piano, strings, and a rising chorus, soft but unstoppable. She takes a step toward him, then another. Finally she stands before him, no words, just silence, and then their hands meet, his trembling, hers steady. A single tear slides down her cheek and she whispers, "Maybe this time, we write our own ending." The camera pulls back slowly, showing them together in the vast empty space. Two figures who have carried decades of distance, but now share the same light. The screen fades to black as the final line appears in golden letters. Some fairy tales deserve a second chapter. The title rises one last time, bold and radiant. Pretty Woman 2, 2025. Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. The final sound is Edward's voice, soft as a promise. Forever. Fade out. The screen opens with silence. Then the faint sound of footsteps, measured, steady. echoes through an empty gallery filled with photographs. Each picture tells a story: laughter, pain, hope. A spotlight lingers on one photo of Edward and Vivian in their youth, captured in the glow of Beverly Hills. Slowly, the camera pulls back, revealing that the gallery isn't real. It's a dreamscape, a hall of memories built from moments that shaped their lives. The voiceover rises, soft and reflective as if spoken by time itself. Love does not end when years pass. It transforms. It becomes the legacy we leave behind. We cut to Vivian walking with a young woman, her daughter confident, full of spirit, her silhouette echoing her mother's past. Vivian's voice speaks gently to her. The world will tell you what you can't be. But one day someone will see you for who you are. That is the love worth waiting for. Meanwhile, Edward sits with a group of young entrepreneurs. He listens not as a powerful tycoon but as a mentor. His silhouette leans forward, his tone calm. Build more than wealth. Build something that outlasts you. Find someone who makes the empire worth it. Their eyes watch him, inspired, as if hearing the wisdom of a man who finally understands what matters. The montage weaves together two paths, Vivian guiding with heart, Edward leading with wisdom. Both are no longer just two people caught in a love story. They are symbols of what love becomes when it matures. The conflict is no longer about lost years, but about passing forward the truth they found. The music swells, brighter now, carrying tones of triumph rather than sorrow. Images flash. Vivian standing on a stage, speaking at her charity event, the audience rising in applause. Edward walking beside her, their hands brushing as though united again, but stronger this time. A glimpse of their daughter watching them, smiling as if witnessing a story come full circle. The camera holds on Edward and Vivian as they walk away from the spotlight into the night. Their silhouettes fade into the glow of the city, together, not chasing dreams anymore, but living them. The voiceover closes in one final promise. Some stories are not just about two people. They are about the love that reshapes the world, one heart at a time. The screen cuts to black. Then the words appear in golden light, glowing like a final signature. Pretty Woman 2, 2025. The story lives on a final note of music plays. Hopeful, soaring, unforgettable, fade out.